Back in the palace, Queen Clara had become more heartless than ever. King Charles, still under her dark spell, obeyed her every command, even when it made no sense. Clara no longer smiled kindly. Her eyes were cold, and her heart had turned to stone. One morning, she sent a messenger to Emily's mother, summoning her to the palace. The poor woman rushed over, hoping for news about her missing daughter. Instead, she found Clara lounging on her golden throne, surrounded by servants. "You're here," Clara said with a fake smile. "The palace cooks are useless. You will prepare my meals from now on." Emily's mother gasped. "Your Majesty, I'm just a farmer's wife. The palace has trained chefs. Why would you ask me?" Clara's smile vanished. "I didn't ask for your opinion. I gave you an order. Refuse, and your family will suffer. Now, get to work." Trembling, Emily's mother spent all day cooking, while the real palace cook stood by, confused and helpless. When Clara tasted the food, she sneered. "Barely acceptable. Do better tomorrow." The next day, Clara summoned Emily's father. She ordered him to work in the royal gardens, trimming hedges under the scorching sun. The head gardener tried to stop him. "We have enough workers. You don't need to do this." Emily's father wiped his brow. "I have no choice," he said wearily. "The Queen has ordered it." As he toiled, blisters formed on his hands, and his back ached. The villagers whispered in fear. Why was Clara tormenting Emily's parents? The village chiefs couldn't ignore Clara's behavior any longer. They gathered secretly under the great baobab tree, their faces serious in the flickering torchlight. "This has gone too far," said Chief Adoyle, his deep voice shaking with anger. "She treats our people like slaves. This is not our way." Chief Lucas nodded, his beard swaying. "Even if she wears a crown, we cannot allow this cruelty to continue. The king would never approve if he were in his right mind." The next morning, the chiefs marched to the palace. Their sandals slapped against the polished stone floors as they entered the grand hall where Clara sat on her golden throne, her cold eyes watching them. "What do you want?" Clara snapped, her jeweled fingers tapping impatiently. Chief Adoyle stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, we come in peace, but we must speak truth. The way you're treating Emily's parents, making her mother cook like a servant, forcing her father to labor in the gardens, this is wrong. They've done nothing to deserve such treatment. We beg you to show mercy." Clara's face darkened like a storm cloud. She leaped from her throne, her crown glinting dangerously. "How dare you!" she shrieked, her voice echoing off the walls. "I am your queen. You do not tell me how to rule." "But your Majesty," Chief Lucas began. "Silence!" Clara roared. "If any of you dare question me again, I'll banish you from these land. You'll lose your homes, your families, everything. Do you understand?" The chiefs exchanged fearful glances. Without the king's support, they were powerless, but King Charles was completely under Clara's spell. With heavy hearts, they bowed and left. Clara smirked as she watched them go. "Let that be a lesson," she muttered to herself. Though the chiefs had been forced to back down, the villagers' anger simmered like a pot about to boil over. "She's no true queen," muttered Bacco the blacksmith as he hammered metal. "She's a tyrant wearing stolen jewels." "If only Emily were here," sighed Amina, the baker's daughter. "She'd never let this happen." Emily's parents suffered quietly, their hearts aching for their missing daughter. Each night, they whispered prayers to the moon, hoping against hope that Emily was safe somewhere far from Clara's wickedness. Deep in the forest, Mama Grace and Cassie had spent 2 long days in the rickety old hut. The days were quiet, but the nights filled with eerie animal calls that made Cassie huddle closer to her mother. The golden fish swam slowly in its clay pot, its scales glowing faintly in the firelight. "Mama," Cassie whispered one evening, "we can't stay here forever. We're running out of food, and I'm scared." Mama Grace sighed, stroking her daughter's hair. She knew Cassie was right. But where could they go? Back to the village meant danger from the greedy merchants. Staying in the forest meant hunger or worse. Suddenly, a chill wind blew through the hut. The fire flickered wildly as a bright light appeared in the doorway. Before they could scream, an ancient woman materialized before them. Her hair shone white as moonlight, her eyes twinkled like stars, and she leaned on a gnarled wooden staff. "Do not be afraid," she said in a voice like rustling leaves. Mama Grace clutched Cassie tight. Who are you? I am a messenger of the gods, the woman replied. Your pure hearts have been heard. I know why you hide here, and I know about the soul trapped in that fish. Cassie gasped. You mean you can help Queen Emily? The old woman nodded. There is a way to break the spell, but you must follow my instructions exactly. She pulled a bundle of glowing green herbs from her robe. First, rub these leaves on the fish at dawn. This will begin her transformation. But listen carefully, this alone isn't enough. Her voice grew grave. Within 7 days, King Charles must look upon Emily with his own eyes. If he doesn't, she won't change back. Cassie asked, her lip trembling. Worse, the woman said. She'll remain a fish forever, and the spell can never be undone. Mama Grace's hand shook. But how? The king is under Clara's evil spell, and the palace guards would never let us near him. The old woman's staff glowed briefly. The god believe in your courage. Take this path. She pointed to a suddenly visible trail through the trees, and it will lead you safely to the village. But hurry, you have only 7 days. With that, she vanished like missing sunlight. With no time to waste, Mama Grace and Cassie packed their bags. Cassie carefully wrapped the golden fishy's pot in cloth, making sure it wouldn't spill. The forest path twisted like a snake through towering trees. Strange eyes glowed in the shadows, but whenever danger neared, a soft golden light from the fish seemed to scare it away. After hours of walking, Cassie suddenly grabbed her mother's arm. Mama, look! Through the trees, they saw the thatched roofs of Emily's village. But as they crept closer, they felt the tension in the air. Villagers spoke in hushed tones, casting fearful glances toward the palace. At the palace gates, 2 armored guards crossed their spears. Wait! What do you want here? Mama Grace took a deep breath. We must see the king. It's a matter of life and death. The guards laughed harshly. The king sees no one without Queen Clara's permission. Cass's heart sank. How would they ever get past the guards? And even if they did, how could they make the king see Emily when he was under Clara's evil spell? Time was running out. It's important, please. I want to see the king. Mama Grace begged. The palace guards looked at each other nervously, and finally, one guard went inside to tell Queen Clara about the visitors. Clara was lounging on her golden throne, surrounded by servants fanning her with palm leaves. When the guard told her about the strangers asking to see the king, her eyes turned cold. Who dares come to my palace uninvited? She snapped, her jeweled fingers tapping the armrest. They didn't give names. Your Majesty, the guard said, bowing low. But they say it's very urgent. Clara's lips curled into a snay. No one sees a king without my permission. Bring them to me first. When Mama Grace and Cassie were led into the grand hall, Clara's eyes narrowed like a cat spotting prey. What do you want? She demanded. Mama Grace bowed deeply, keeping her voice steady. Your Majesty, we bring important news for the king. Please, may we speak with him? Clara's face turned dark with anger. You dare demand to see the king? Tell me why you're here, or I'll have you thrown out. Cassie clung to her mother's arm, her small hands trembling. But Mama Grace stood firm. We mean no harm, Your Majesty. We only wish to. Enough! Clara shrieked, cutting her off. Guards! Remove these peasants at once. The guards grabbed Mama Grace and Cassie roughly, dragging them toward the gates as Clara's angry shouts echoed behind them. Outside the palace gates, Cassie wiped her tears. Mama, what do we do now? Clara wouldn't listen. Mama Grace hugged her daughter tight. We can't give up, little one. The God sent us here for a reason. As they rested under a tree, they overheard villagers whispering. Clara's gone too far. The king isn't himself anymore. It's like he's under a spell. Mama Grace's eyes lit up. They know something's wrong. Maybe Emily's parents can help. They asked a group of people the road to Emily's parents' house, and they traced their way there. They found Emily's home near a big mango tree. When Emily's mother opened the door, her tired eyes filled with surprise. We know about Emily, Mama Grace whispered urgently. She's alive, but trapped as a golden fish. Emily's parents gasped. Tears streamed down their faces as Mama Grace showed them the fish in the clay pot. "We've tried everything," Emily's father said sadly. "The king doesn't listen to anyone but Clara now. The only person who can get near him is the palm wine tapper." Emily's mother finished. Cass's eyes grew wide with confusion. "The palm wine tapper? Who is that?" she asked, tugging gently on Emily's father's sleeve. Emily's father knelt down to look Cassie in the eyes. "He's a very important man who collects sweet wine from the palm trees. Queen Clara loves his wine so much that he's the only person she lets enter the palace any time." His voice dropped to a whisper. "If anyone can get close to the king, it's him." That evening, as fireflies began to twinkle in the dark, Emily's parents made a brave decision. With Mama Grace and Cassie by their side, they would visit the palm wine tapper and ask for his help. Their hearts pounded with fear, but they knew this was their only chance to save Emily and break Clara's evil spell. The group quietly made their way to the edge of the village where tall palm trees swayed in the night breeze. The palm wine tapper's small hut stood beneath the biggest tree, with empty gourds and clay pots stacked outside. When they knocked, the door creaked open to reveal a kind-faced man with strong arms and a gentle smile. But as Emily's parent explained everything, how Clara had turned Emily into a fish, how the king was under a spell, his smile faded into seriousness. "I've heard whispers about strange happenings at the palace," the tapper said, stroking his chin. "The king hasn't been himself, and Clara's cruelty grows each day." He looked at the golden fish swimming sadly in its bowl. "I will help you, but we must be very careful. If Clara discovers our plan—" Emily's mother squeezed his hand, tears glistening in her eyes. "Please, we can't lose our daughter forever." The palm wine tapper thought carefully, then came up with a brilliant plan. "Every morning, I bring fresh palm wine to the palace. Tomorrow, I'll hide Emily in my basket beneath the gourds. When I get close to the king, I'll show her to him. If the magic is strong enough, just seeing her might break the spell." Mama Grace's eyes lit up with hope. "It could work." "But you must be careful," Cassie said, her small voice serious. "Clara watches everything." The tapper nodded. "Don't worry, little one. I know all the palace's hidden corners." The next morning, as the sun painted the sky pink, the palm wine tapper set off with his basket. Hidden safely inside was a golden fish, wrapped in a damp cloth to keep her scales shining. At the palace gates, Clara's guards crossed their spears. "What business do you have today?" one growled. The tapper smiled warmly and lifted a gourd of sweet-smelling wine. "The queen's favorite drink, fresh from the trees." The guard sniffed the air and waved him through. Inside the palace, the tapper moved quietly through the halls, avoiding Clara's sharp gaze. He knew the king liked to walk in the garden at this hour, so he waited near a pillar, watching. Soon enough, King Charles appeared, but he looked nothing like the strong ruler he once was. His shoulders slumped, his eyes dull, as if he was sleepwalking. Stepping forward, the tapper bowed low. "Your Majesty, a special gift for you today." The king blinked slowly. "Gift?" With careful hands, the tapper unwrapped the cloth, revealing the golden fish. The morning sun caught its scales, making them sparkle like tiny stars. The king's eyes widened. He reached out a trembling finger and then touched it. A golden light exploded through the garden. The fish began to grow, its shape shifting, until Emily stood out and became human once more. At the same moment, the king gasped as if waking from a long nightmare. "Emily? My queen!" he cried, pulling her into a tight hug. What happened? Where have you been?" Emily clung to him, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Clara cursed me, my love. She turned me into a fish and stole my place." The king's face darkened with anger, but also with clear eyes, for the first time in months. The spell was broken. As Emily stood before the king in her human form, she blinked in confusion for just a moment before recognizing her parents. Tears of joy streamed down her mother's face as she rushed forward, wrapping her arms around her daughter. "You're back. You're really back." Emily's mother sobbed, holding her tight as if afraid she might disappear again. The king's eyes, once clouded by Clara's evil spell, now shone with clear understanding. He stepped forward and gently embraced Emily. "My queen," he whispered, his voice filled with emotion. I am so sorry for everything you suffered. Clara trapped me in a dark spell. I couldn't see the truth. Emily looked up at her husband, placing a hand on his cheek. It wasn't your fault, my king, she said softly. The spell was strong, but now you're free. Turning to Emily's parents, the king bowed his head humbly. I owe you all an apology, too. I failed to protect your daughter when she needed me most. Emily's father wiped tears from his eyes. Thank you, your majesty. We're just grateful to have our Emily home safe. The king smiled at them all, his heart swelling with gratitude. Together, we will fix everything Clara has broken. Her evil reign ends today. Just then, the king noticed the golden bowl that had held Emily when she was a fish. But how did this miracle happen? How did you know about the spell? Emily's father gestured toward the palace gates. Your Majesty, we owe everything to two strangers, a woman named Grace and her daughter Cassie. They risked their lives to help us, even though they didn't know us. The king's eyes widened in amazement. Strangers did this? Where are these brave souls? I must thank them properly. They are resting at our home, Emily's mother said. They were exhausted after their journey. Without hesitation, the king turned to his guards. Bring Grace and Cassie to the palace at once. I wish to honor them properly for their courage. As the guards hurried off, the king noticed something troubling. Where was Clara? Meanwhile, Clara had been watching everything from a shadowy hallway. When she saw Emily return to human form, her face twisted in rage. This isn't over, she hissed to herself. Slipping out a side door, she ran toward the forest where the evil witch lived. The witch's hut looked even creepier in daylight, with strange bones hanging from the roof and a foul smell in the air. Clara banged on the door. Help me, she demanded when the witch appeared. I need stronger magic. The king has broken free of my spell. The old witch cackled, her yellow teeth showing. Magic always comes with a price, my dear. Are you willing to pay? Clara didn't hesitate. Anything. Just give me the power to destroy them all. The witch handed her a small black pouch. This powder will turn your enemies to stone. But beware, if even a speck touches you, you'll share their fate. Also, do not look back on your way home. Clara grinned wickedly as she clutched the pouch. Perfect. Back at the palace, the guards returned with Mama Grace and Cassie. The little girl clung to her mother's hand, eyes wide at the grand throne room. The king rose from his throne and approached them. You must be the brave souls who saved my queen, he said warmly. Mama Grace bowed deeply. Your Majesty, we only did what was right. You have shown more courage than all my gods combined, he said, his voice warm like sunshine. Without you, my beloved Emily might still be swimming as a fish, and I would still be under Clara's wicked spell. Cassie shyly peeked out from behind her mother's skirt. Is the bad queen gone forever now? She asked in her small, hopeful voice. Before the king could answer, a group of guards came running back, their armor clanking. Your Majesty, their leader panted. Clara's chambers are empty. She's vanished. A murmur spread through the crowd. The king's face grew serious. Search everywhere, the gardens, the village, the forest edges. She must not escape justice. Meanwhile, deep in the dark forest where twisted trees blocked out the sun, Clara stumbled through the undergrowth. Her fine silk dress snagged on thorns, her hair tangled with leaves. The evil queen hurried back through the shadowy forest, the pouch clutched tight in her sweaty hand. She imagined the king and Emily turning to stones, saw herself sitting alone on the golden throne. Clara! A sweet voice sang behind her. Most beautiful queen. Her steps faltered. That voice, so full of admiration. Clara the Great, the voice cooed. The strongest ruler our land has ever known. Her fingers twitched toward her face, desperate to turn and see who praised her so wonderfully. But she remembered the witch's warning and kept walking. Then came the most tempting whisper of all. Queen Clara, the people are waiting to crown you. Just look and see. Her pride swelled like a bubble in her chest. Just one little peek. As Clara turned her head, whoosh! The black pouch exploded in her hand. Dark smoke wrapped around her like snakes, squeezing tight. Clara screamed as her body shrank. Her skin hardened, her arms stuck to her sides. As the dark magic swirled around Clara, a terrible scream tore from her throat. The evil spell she had tried to use against others now turned against her. The powerful wave of darkness made her mind cloudy and confused. She began laughing wildly, a scary, unnatural sound that turned into sobs and screams. The once proud queen stumbled out of the forest, her beautiful dress torn, her hair wild like a storm. She ran without direction, her eyes wide with madness. The villagers who saw her gasped and moved away as she passed, her crazy laughter echoing through the streets. When Clara reached the palace gates, she found everyone gathered together. King Charles, Queen Emily, Emily's parents, and their brave rescuers Mama Grace and Cassie. The guards tried to stop her, but Clara pushed past them with surprising strength, falling to her knees before the king. "Look what you've done to yourself," the king said sadly, shaking his head at the broken woman before him. But Clara couldn't answer properly. She just kept laughing and crying, her words making no sense. The evil magic had destroyed her mind completely. Suddenly, with another wild scream, Clara jumped up and ran out of the palace gates. Crash! A speeding vehicle appeared from nowhere. Before anyone could react, it hit Clara. She fell to the ground and didn't move again. The villagers who saw it whispered to each other. This was a punishment for all the wicked things she did. Back in the palace, the mood was completely different. King Charles stood before Mama Grace and Cassie, his eyes filled with gratitude. "How can I ever thank you enough?" he said, his voice warm. "You risked everything to save my queen when you didn't even know us. Your courage and kindness have saved our kingdom." Mama Grace bowed her head humbly. "Your Majesty, we only did what was right. No one deserved to suffer like Queen Emily did." Queen Emily stepped forward and took Mama Grace's hands in hers. "You didn't just save me, you gave me back my life, my family, everything. I will never forget what you've done." The king made a grand announcement that day. "From this moment, Mama Grace and Cassie will have a beautiful new home in our kingdom. Mama Grace shall have her own large farm with workers to help her, so she never has to struggle again. And little Cassie will grow up safe and happy, with the best education our kingdom can offer." Cassie jumped up and down with joy, hugging her mother tightly. "Mama, we'll have a real home, and I can go to school." Mama Grace wiped happy tears from her eyes. "This is more than I ever dreamed possible. Thank you, your Majesties." That night, the entire kingdom celebrated with music, dancing, and feasting. The villagers rejoiced that peace had returned, and that their kind queen was home safe. Months later, wonderful news spread through the kingdom. Queen Emily was expecting twins. When the babies were born, 2 healthy little princes, the celebrations lasted for days. The palace was filled with laughter and joy like never before. Mama Grace and Cassie were part of the royal family now, and their bond grew stronger every day. Cassie became like a little sister to the twin princes, teaching them games and stories from her village. The kingdom flourished under the wise rule of King Charles and Queen Emily. And whenever people passed by Mama Grace's successful farm, they would remember how kindness had changed their whole world for the better.